Assalamu alaikum. Let's cook. Okay, people, we're going to talk about the young brother Rasheem Carter. Condolences to his family. This is a never forget video. And I know it's easy to forget things due to trauma-based amnesia. So many horrible things happening to black people that we forget. Sometimes there are some people who just see this stuff as entertainment on the internet as long as it's not happening to them. But this stuff is serious. And we got to keep this stuff out there, man. Rasheem Carter. Maybe some people don't know who he is. He was a 25-year-old young black man from Fayette, Mississippi. Now, Rasheem Carter was a welder, a highly skilled millwright. He's also a business owner. And Rasheem Carter was working a short-term contracting gig at the Georgia Pacific plant in Taylorsville. Now, Taylorsville is about 100 miles from where he lives. He was saving money to reopen his seafood restaurant, which had closed down during the pandemic. It's named after his daughter, and he wanted to reopen his restaurant. So how do you do that? Got to go out there and get the money. So that's why Rasheem Carter was in Taylorsville. Now, when he was in Taylorsville, he was staying at the Super 8 Motel in the city of Laurel. Laurel is about a half-hour drive from Taylorsville, where the job is at. So he's staying in Laurel at the Super 8, and Laurel is about a half-hour drive to Taylorsville, where the job is. Now, at this Super 8, he has a roommate. The roommate's identity has never been publicly named in any reporting, but this roommate was also a co-worker. Rasheem has some issues with this roommate slash co-worker. They got into some kind of argument. The co-worker told him, "You can't ride to work with me anymore." So pretty much now Rasheem has to walk or hitchhike 20 miles back and forth from Taylorsville to the Super 8 Motel in Laurel, or vice versa, okay? Now, what I really do want to know about this situation is, who was this roommate? What was the beef? You know, they're not telling us anything about this roommate's identity to this day. I don't know who it is. You know, I guess some people know, but these two had some issues at work, at home, or whatever. It was enough for him to say, "You can't ride with me no more." Walk to work 20 miles, which is kind of cold, you know what I mean? But it's not his responsibility to take somebody else to work also. But what they had this beef with, or this argument, it has never been disclosed publicly. But, you know, it is confirmed that Rasheem Carter had some issues with this roommate, some co-workers, and stuff like that or whatever. You know what I mean? The reason why Rasheem Carter didn't have a vehicle out there is because his car had broken down in September 2022. So that's what it was. That's why he was out there without a car and dependent on a ride from a roommate. Now, Rasheem Carter also had a boss that he didn't get along with named Stephen Luke Clements, okay? Now, before Rasheem Carter disappeared, he texted his mother, "Me and the owner of this company are not seeing eye to eye, mama. If anything happens to me, he's responsible for it." So Rasheem Carter knew that this guy, his supervisor, Stephen Luke Clements, dangerous dude, him and his crew, dangerous, okay? He actually knew that. His mother actually turned those text messages over to the police. Unfortunately, the police are connected to the guys that actually did what they did to Rasheem Carter. Rasheem Carter tells his mother, "If something happened to me, this guy did it." So he knew that this dude was dangerous. Now, Rasheem Carter gets off of work this day, and he spoke to his mother while he's out walking. He said that he was being followed by 3 trucks filled with racist white men trying to kill him. That's what he told his mother. "I'm being followed by 3 trucks filled with racist white men trying to kill me." Rasheem Carter went to the police 2 times. They did nothing. We know why. He's moving around Taylorsville, which is a Crackerville. He goes inside the Family Dollar store. He notices that somebody calls the store and asks if he was inside. The clerk confirmed, yes, he's in here. Rasheem heard the clerk say, "He's in here," and he immediately knew, these guys are really hunting me. He told his mother what happened, then he left this store quick out of fear. Now, after leaving the Family Dollar, he was never seen alive again. His body was found a month later on private property 1 mile south of Taylorsville. 1 month later, in November 2022, hunters found remains in a wooded area outside Taylorsville. DNA confirmed that it belonged to Rasheem Carter. His skull and his spinal cord were found in separate locations, treated as separate sets of remains. There were more remains found February 2023. His jeans were later discovered containing his ATM card, cash, and a phone charger. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation said a forensic exam could not determine the cause of death. The Smith County Sheriff's Office originally claimed there was no reason to believe foul play. In May of 2023, Rasheem Carter's family announced that a fourth set of remains had been found, but the Smith County District Attorney pushed back and said those bones were animal bones, not Rasheem's bones. Rasheem Carter's family says you guys are hiding the truth. So the tension between the family and law enforcement continues. Now, what we know now, as of now, this case is unsolved. We know who did it though. It's all over the internet. Rasheem Carter told his mom all this stuff. He's not imagining or making things up. He didn't just go into the woods and lay down and say, oh, I'm just going to die here. What happened to him? We know what happened to him. They hunted him. They have multiple agencies involved in this, but no suspects, okay? Residents in Taylorsville, they talk about the case, but they say that they're afraid to speak publicly. Everybody knows. The entire white community in Taylorsville knows what happened to Rasheem Carter, okay? This was a modern day lynching, and people, this is how spooky it can get in these towns. You have actual white groups who know how to hunt people. So there are many connections between what happened to Rasheem Carter and the boss that he had an issue with, that he told his mother, if something happened to me, it's him. Is a connection between him, the police, and the property where his remains were found, all connected. There was even a boy at school who was the son of the Blankleys. The Blankleys are connected to Stephen Luke Clements. His body was found on their family's property. The boy was in school, their son, running his mouth, saying stuff that he wasn't supposed to say. Oh, it was nothing left for Rasheem but an eyeball and this and that.
One of the man's gone for, I don't know, a month. He was gone for a month. They found his body, and all that was left was one eyeball, 2 fingers, and a wallet. And they went to the driver's house, and driver was hiding evidence. That man right there, he was hiding evidence. The pig threw up in driver's yard, and he buried it with a shovel. He's got Rasheem's body parts in his yard. So FBI, y'all need to go to search his house, because he's got all kind of evidence for his pig.
Y'all heard him. Listen to it again. That's the boy in school. The little boy went to school running his mouth about what he's seen at his house. His parents, his dad, they're connected to the boss, Stephen Luke Clements. They all know each other, connected to the police as well. He's seen about it. He said, y'all need to do this, and that. You know what I mean? So look, everybody knows what happened to Rasheem Carter. You know what I mean? This is one of them stories where maybe 30 years from now, they'll come out talking about it. Somebody from that area will talk about it, but they all know what happened. And these dudes out here are dangerous. They know these guys will hunt you down. You know what I mean? This is what they do. Real messed up situation. Something very important that people should take from this story, I believe. If you're traveling somewhere, man, Rasheem Carter was out trying to get to his money like he had to, like a man is supposed to, because he had a goal to open up his restaurant. But his car had broke down. You know, you can't go to other places that you're not familiar. It's not your neighborhood. You don't know people that live here, and here. You're not raised in that area, you know what I mean, with no transportation, to where you have to walk on these Crackerville roads for 20 miles. Very dangerous. You know what I'm saying? His car broke down at the last minute and he still felt like he had to go. Now you got to depend on some roommate who may even be a cracker. You know what I mean? A white supremacist pig too. You have a little back and forth with him. Oh, I'm not taking you to work no more. It's not his responsibility though. But they're not saying who this person is. I do believe that this person who was Rasheem's roommate was cool with the boss as well at work. I believe that. You know what I mean? I believe that he doesn't really care what happened because he had an actual beef. I don't know what the beef was over. I don't know. But just to be in a position where you 100 miles from home and you got to depend on a roommate who you don't know. I think he know him though. I think they worked together in the past before. I'm not 100% sure. But as soon as this person says, I ain't giving you a ride, now these people hunting you down and taking your life. Real messed up situation, people. I hope that black people who create content on social media continue to do this Rasheem Carter story. Make sure it stays out there. These are the things that are going on. These things happen. This is real horror stories, real life. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that people who do create content keep this story out there. As far as justice is concerned, Pell Voltron is hard to break. I get it, but we have to know that these things are going down and it's happening out there on these roads in these Crackerville towns or whatever. Stay on point. Don't go anywhere where you're dependent on somebody else to move around. You got to be the one with the keys. You got to be in the driver's seat all the time. You got to be the one to dictate. You know what I mean? Because if he had his car, he probably would have got home, or he could have stepped on the gas and went all the way home. If the beef got real, he seen trucks following him. Boom, he going all the way back to where he from. You know what I mean? Who knows? Anyway, people, easy.